Shiva, what you can do is, you can start working on different types of essays and you can send me. I'll correct it manually and send that back to you. Even writing task 1 also. Both writing task 1, because we've had a couple of writing sessions. So now you know how to do it. So just write it, send it to me. If possible, a couple of them I'll be discussing. The others I'll be correcting and I'll send that back to you. Both writing task 1 and writing task 2. Okay?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
All right, fine. Okay, fine. So this is the passage that we are working on in today's session. So again, for whatever be the type of question, it is good to have a global understanding of the entire passage, good to know what every para talks about. So we are starting with the first para. So please read the first para, try to tell me what is the storyline and plot from the first para, and try to connect the ideas between the different sentences from the first para. Yes. Yeah. So what is this first para talking about? Manjeet or Aparna or Shiva, anyone? What is the first para talking about?
It's talking about employee performance to retain the employees in that organization.
Okay. So it's saying a critical ingredient in the success of hotels. Now see, there's one more thing that I have to tell you. Often, the students, they ask me, often learners ask me that, how to get hold of good words, how to get hold of good, less commonly less commonly vocab and advanced words. See, whenever you are doing a reading passage on your end, or whenever we are doing a reading passage during the live session, you can make a note of the important and good words that you're getting from the passage. Like here, critical ingredient is a good word. Is a good collocation, superior performance, accomplished, retain great employees. This is how you'll get hold of good words and good vocab, advanced vocab, which you can ultimately use in your IELTS writing and speaking as well. Okay. All right. A critical ingredient in the success of hotels is developing and maintaining superior performance from their employees. So superior performance. Then if you see, it says, how is that accomplished? So, how is that done? How is that accomplished? So how do you develop and maintain superior performance? That's a question that they have raised. What human resource management practices should organizations invest into acquiring great and retain great employees? So this para is basically raising a question. It says that, developing and maintaining superior performance from the employees is absolutely critical for smooth running and the best running and functioning of an organization, or for hotels. Specifically, they are talking about hotels, and then they are raising questions of how can that goal be achieved. Okay, what should be the human resource management practices, or what should be the HR practices that should be done in order to hire and retain great employees or good talent? Okay, so make a note of this somewhere on a scratch paper. If you would have had the hard copy, probably you would have written that just beside the para. But here, what you can do is you can just make a note of that, of the storyline, of the plot of this particular para in a scratch paper. Okay, and then we are moving on to the next para. Work on the next para and then. See, when I ask you to read, combine the ideas between the different sentences and tell me the storyline or plot of the para. It's not that you're just reading the line separately. Okay, the entire thing has to give a meaning. So that is what you have to tell. Done, guys? Okay, done with the second para, Aparna?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
What do you want?
So in second para, it says that how they can provide a good working condition for the employees, because in non-service sectors, they have a very good work-life balance. But in the case of hospitality industry, that is not that much. So there are no working conditions. So how to improve their working conditions? So that is what
Right.
the para
So
tell.
this para is basically trying to, give an answer to address the question that has been raised in the previous para. So in the previous para, they say that what should be or what could be the HR practices or what should be the human resource management practices to acquire and retain great employees, right? So in the second para, they are saying, if you see, some hotels aim to provide superior working conditions for the employees, correct, so that they can strike a good work-life balance. They can retain a balance between, they don't have to compromise their personal life because of their professional accomplishments. And then they are trying to draw a contrast, so there's a difference. By contrast is a contrasting linker, which means whichever you are reading before by contrast and whatever you are reading after that has to be contradictory. The service sector, and more specifically hotels, has traditionally not extended these practices. So this has to be done. So this para talks about the fact that there has to be a conducive environment for the growth of the employees, as well as they should be having a scope or room to strike good work-life balance, right? And then they are showing how the other sectors, are doing this, but this hospitality sector has not been doing this. All right, the next para. And are you seeing what are the portions that I'm underlining and circling? Because often the students ask me that, which are the phrases that should be underlined and which are the phrases that should be circled, right? So you circle only the linkers or the transition words which draw a connection. Okay, that could be anything. That could be which, that could be neither nor. I mean, you're basically circling those words which are helping you to draw the relationship and the transition between the different ideas. And you're underlining those which are important phrases, important words, important sentences, which are helping you in understanding the meaning of that particular sentence. Yeah. Okay, the next paragraph. Yeah. So Manveet, can you tell me what is this para talking about, the third para? What is the third para talking about, Manveet?
Ma'am, it was around HR management. So the department which hire employees actually. So it
What is the
emphasizes
storyline?
on
What is the
that
plot?
department to
What is the plot? I mean, what is the plot around which the entire idea revolves?
hire good employees, good quality employees.
Okay, let's see. So it says that P emphasizes that in order to succeed in a global business environment, organizations must make investment in HRM.
Ma'am, it
To allow,
revolves around.
yeah, to allow them to acquire employees who possess better skills and capabilities than their competitors. So there has to be, any organization, if it has to succeed, okay, in a global business environment or globally, then definitely they have to invest or they have to mobilize their funds in human resource management. Okay, and investing in human resource management, why? Because if you hire good HR managers and if you have good HRM practices, then definitely you will not only be able to hire good talent or get great talented professions, but at the same time you'll also be able to retain them, right? This investment will be to their competitive advantage. Competitive advantage is something which means that, as an organization, you are having employees with better skills, with upgraded competencies, that gives you an advantage over the other organization. That's known as competitive advantage. Despite this recognition, again, a contradiction of the importance of employee development, the hospitality industry has historically been dominated by underdeveloped HR practices. So the major drawback, the biggest concern, the biggest challenge for the hospitality industry, why the hospitality industry or the hotel industry or hotel business still lags behind, is that they are dominated by underdeveloped HR practices. All right, so they do not invest, they do not mobilize their funds in human resource management, due to which they don't have good HR practices, they don't have good HR managers who can hire and retain good talent in the market. Okay, so the para just before this is talking about what has to be done, what should be the aim in order to accomplish, in order to hire and retain good talent. And this para is talking about the challenge, right? Something that they are not doing and they should be doing. All right. Okay. So moving on to the next para. Yeah, done. Can we talk about the next para, Shiva?
Yeah, this is the second point they are given in addition to the first one, and they're talking about we have to maintain, second line you can see, can maintain the relationship with employees, and second part is a managerial approach. So if we are maintaining these things, we can achieve the employee, we can retain the employees. Otherwise, see, if we are providing more compensation and they're talking about some benefits and all, if these things are achieved, then only we can retain the employees in that organization.
Okay, right. So if you look at this para, this says that Lucas also points out that the substance of HRM practices does not appear to be designed to foster constructive relationships with employees or to represent a managerial approach that enables developing and drawing out the full potential. So the HRM practices which are done, which are there in the hotel industry or hospitality industry, they are not done in order to encourage, to bring out or draw out the full potential of the people, even though employees may be broadly satisfied with many aspects of work. So even though a contrasting, the employees might be satisfied, but then, their full potential, the HRM practices are not there in order to bring out the full potential of these people. In addition, or maybe as a result, high employee turnover has been a recurring problem throughout the hospitality. Among the many cited reasons are low compensation, inadequate benefits, poor working conditions, and compromised employee morale and attitude. So this para is talking about the poor HRM practices, or we can say the challenges, or you can say what are the concerns in the hospitality industry that you're not being able to retain, you're not being able to hire good talent. Okay. All right, fine. In addition, again, this is a sequencing linker. A sequencing linker is used. So when you do this reading, this reading is not only done to address the questions, the different types of questions, but at the same time, you get hold of good vocab, you get hold of advanced vocab, you get hold of very good linkers and transition words. So all these things form a very major role in this. So it's not only, you're doing reading and answering the questions. Okay, at the same time, you're understanding the flow of ideas, you're seeing the use of transition words, you're seeing you're making a note of very good words and advanced vocab that you're getting from this. Okay, all right, the next para. Yes. So what is this para talking about, guys? NG and Sorensen. NG and Sorensen. Aparna.
Once the managers or the person who are in the senior position provide appropriate motivation and recognition to the employees, they work more efficiently in hospitality industry.
Right.
So that may improve their confidence and their performance wise also. That gives a better, and that in turn may gives benefits to the hospitality industry.
Right. See, it says that NG and Sorensen demonstrated that when managers provide recognition to employees, so when you encourage, when you appreciate the hard work of the employees, motivate the employees to work together and remove obstacles, preventing effective performance, employees feel more obligated. This was succinctly summarized by M. Providing support to employees gives them the confidence to perform their jobs better and the motivation to stay. Hospitality organizations can therefore enhance employee motivation. Again, another point. So the first point was, investing on human resource, investing on good HR, investing on good human resource practice management practices, then investing providing them an environment or providing them a scope or room to strike good work-life balance. And this is saying that they should be enhancing the employee motivation and retention through the development and improvement of their working conditions. These conditions are inherently linked to the working environment. So the more you appreciate the hard work of an employee, the more you encourage them to stay together in a team. That is how you can hire and retain good talent and capable employees in your organization. Okay, the next para. The next para is actually this. So one half is here and the second half. So once you're done with this, then we'll move on to the next page for the next half. Yeah, moving to yes. Yeah. So Manveet, what is this para talking about? Manveet, what is this para talking about? Oh, I think we don't have Manveet with us. Okay. While it seems likely that employees' reactions to their job characteristics could be affected by a predisposition to view their work environment negatively, no evidence exists to support this hypothesis. Okay, so when it comes to an employee, there's a predisposition, there's a preconceived notion, there's a prior idea and concept that the work environment is negative. However, a contrasting linker. So whatever you are reading before that and after that has to be contrasting. Given the opportunity, many people will find something to complain about. So, something or the other would be there which would be concerning. I mean, something would be something or the other would be there that the employees would be complaining about, would be raising concern about. There is a strong link between the perceptions of employees and particular factors of their work environment that are separate from work itself. Okay, so this tendency of complaining, this tendency of raising concerns about something or the other in the work environment, this is very common, right? So there is a strong link between the perceptions of employees, the perspective of the employees, the point of views of the employees about the different things, and the particular factors of their work environment that are separate from work. So like, separate from work, which means company policies, your leave policies, your compensation, your vacations. All right. Okay, the next para. What is this para talking about? Mandeep, what is this para talking about? Such conditions. Yes, Mandeep, what is this para talking about? This one.
Ma'am, actually, I missed the content due to my network problem.
Okay.
So I'm not getting it.
Okay, Aparna, what about you? What is this para talking about? Such conditions are particularly troubling. Yeah.
So we already discussed some work environmental concerns. So that condition may particularly affect the some hotels like luxury hotel markets because well, high quality because their quality of services is actually critical, especially in competitive cases. So if there is anything troubling that, it may affect their it may affect their industry, that mean in luxury hotel markets.
What about you, Shiva? See, if you yeah. Yes, carry on, please. They are talking.
They're talking about how to mitigate that above risks, whatever we are seeing, employee, the
Dissatisfaction.
problem. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Such conditions are particularly troubling for the luxury hotel market, where high quality service requiring a sophisticated approach to HRM is recognized as a critical source of competitive advantage. So there has to be high quality service, and at the same time, there also has to be a sophisticated approach to the human resource management practices. Now, in a real sense, the services of hotel employees represent their industry. This representation has commonly been limited to guest experiences. So it just depends. I mean, how was your service? What was your service? Everything basically depends on the feedback, on the kind of response that the guests are providing. Right? So this suggests that there has been a dichotomy. What do you mean by dichotomy? A paradoxical situation, a contrasting situation, an ironical situation. What is that? Between the guest environment provided in luxury hotels and the working conditions of their employees. What does this mean? This means that there is a paradoxical situation. Ideally, suppose there's a luxury hotel and the guest, the environment that we provide to the guests is very good. It's very high-fi. It's very sophisticated. But at the same time, in the same hotel, the employees are not in good conditions. The working conditions or the working conditions for the employees are not conducive. Did you get it? So this is what they are trying to say. So everything basically depends on the feedback or the response that is provided by the guests. Right. I mean, if you ask a guest in a luxury hotel, he or she will probably say that, it was an amazing experience. It was a delightful and immersive experience. But at the same time, in the same hotel, the working conditions of their employees are not up to the mark. So this is the paradoxical situation that we are talking about. Is that clear, guys? All of you? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the last sentence of this para is, something which is very important. So see, reading through the para and having an idea having a general understanding or having a global idea from the para is so very important. Right? There's an approach known as head and tail approach, where you just read the first sentence of the last sentence. That is the most bogus approach when it comes to IELTS reading. Just by reading the first sentence and the last sentence of a particular para, you can never have a general understanding of the para. And unless you have a general understanding of the para, it would be really difficult for you to come up with accurate, precise, and certain answers for the questions. You keep on getting confused, you keep on wasting time in reading, rereading, going back and forth, searching for words throughout the passage. That's a waste of time and energy. Okay. All right. The next para, guys. Yes. What is this next para talking about? It is therefore essential. Mandeep, can we talk about the next para? It is therefore essential. Mandeep. Mandeep, are you there with us? I think she has a network issue. Okay. Shiva, what about this para? It is therefore essential.
Actually, this para talks about how to mitigate that risk from the employee dissatisfaction and what are the practices and what we have to do for the employees for the job satisfaction and retain them.
Right, right. See, if you look over here, it says it is therefore essential for hotel management to develop HRM practices that enable them to inspire and retain competent employees. So the HR practices are something that has to be, invested upon, that has to be developed. Okay. This requires an understanding of what motivates employees at different levels of management, at different stages of their careers. This implies that it is beneficial for hotel managers to understand what practices are most favorable to increase employee satisfaction and retention. So you have to invest, you have to mobilize more funds in order to, enhance your HRM practices, in order to develop good HRM practices, and how to do that. That's basically, this, that you need to, they need to understand that, at different phases of their career, at different stages of their career, at different levels of their management, what is it that can enhance the employee satisfaction and retention. So they have to understand, and they need to put into practice those things. Okay. All right. The next para. This is a section 3 passage, so it's slightly lengthier. Yeah. So Aparna, what is this para talking about? This one.
So this para tells about there are two types of needs for employees, how for better performance. First one is, rather than work, they need a good working condition and job security.
Right.
Otherwise there is there is a dissatisfaction in their job that may affect the hospitality industry as well.
So this para is basically focusing on the fact that there are some external factors, external motivation factors. So it is not only about the kind of work that we are doing. Okay, it is not only about the kind of work or the type of work or the type of service that they are providing, but there are certain external conditions. There are certain extrinsic motivation factors which include working conditions and job security. Okay. Now, there is no hard and fast rule that if you are enhancing these external conditions, they will be completely satisfied. No, but maybe, there would be a substantial reduction. There would be a significant reduction in their dissatisfaction. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next para. Yes.
So
Yeah. Shiva, what is this para talking about? This one?
What are the motivation factors it will employees will satisfy? That is recognition and
Yeah, see, the previous para was just talking about the external factors. The previous para was talking about the extrinsic motivation factors. And this para is talking about the intrinsic motivation.
Intrinsic
Motivators,
motivation.
right?
So both
It's
are
saying,
important for the
right. It's saying, it
achievements.
says that there has to be the right balance between the both. There has to be both extrinsic motivation factors and intrinsic motivation factors, the right balance. Right. So what are intrinsic motivation factors? It's achievement and recognition. So, they are doing some achievements, they are accomplishing, suppose they are accomplishing a goal before the deadline, or maybe, as per the deadline, they should be recognized. Their achievement and accomplishments should be recognized in some form. They should be appreciated. They should be motivated. So these are internal, intrinsic motivation needs. And the previous para was talking about extrinsic motivation needs like job security. They should not keep on thinking, or they should not keep on thinking that today I'm there, tomorrow I might be fired. Okay, so these two paras are basically trying to draw a difference, or trying to show that, see, there are extrinsic motivation factors and there are intrinsic motivation factors, and there has to be the right balance between both of them. Okay, the next para. And the next para has to be done by Manpreet, the impact of fun. Manpreet, I want you to talk about the next para.
Okay, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Yes, tell me, what do you understand from this para?
Ma'am, this paragraph is about having fun at job. Ma'am, this para tells us about that there should be a balance in fun. If there is fun, then there should be a balance between goals of the company and also performance of employees. So,
Okay. Okay. All
and
right. If you look at this
it
para,
was
basically,
tried in US.
yeah, this para actually talks about the impact of fun. See, when people were working from were working from home during this entire 2 years or 1 year of COVID pandemic that you had, we were all restricted, or we were all restricted, and we were all limited to working from home. That time you must have, there were concerns that employees were losing motivation because they were not reporting at their workplace, they were not reporting at their office, they were not interacting with the other colleagues. So they were losing motivation, right? So that is when the HR, good HR managers, they started introducing all sorts of fun activities, online fun activities and everything, in order to boost the morale. So the same thing is said over here. The impact of fun as a motivating factor at work has also been explored. For example, T&S conducted a study focusing on staff from a chain of themed restaurants in the US. It was found that fun activities had a favorable impact on performance, and manager support for fun had a favorable impact. So it had a significant impact and effect. Their findings support the view that fun may indeed have a beneficial effect, but a contrasting linker again. So I'm circling this. The framing of that fun must be carefully aligned. Okay, so I mean, fun does not mean that you are picking up anything. Okay, I mean, you have to keep in mind that there are certain organizational goals and there are certain employee characteristics. So each employee has a unique characteristic, and the organization also has its own unique goals. So whatever fun activity that you are framing or you are organizing, that has to be that has to be done by keeping in mind, striking the balance between these two. Managers must learn how to achieve the delicate balance of allowing employees the freedom to enjoy themselves at work while simultaneously maintaining high levels of performance. So enjoying at work and maintaining or retaining the high levels of performance, both of these should be there. Clear? Okay. Fine. Moving on to the last para. So let's work on the last para. It says D has recommended several actions that can be adopted at the organizational level to retain good staff, as well as assist in balancing work and family life. Remember, there was a para which was talking about, how important it is to provide good conditions, good working environment, at the same time giving room and scope to the employees to strike a good work-life balance. So this is what it's saying. Those particularly appropriate to the hospitality industry include allowing adequate breaks during the working day, staff functions that involve families, fun activities, including the family members of the staff, and providing health and well-being opportunities, maybe leaves or vacations. So this entire passage is talking about how exactly the employees should be motivated, and how to help the employees grow. What would be the factors, both extrinsic, intrinsic, that would help an employee to grow in hospitality industry. So this is a passage which is not generalizing. It is not talking about all the industries. It is specifically talking about the hotel industry, or rather being more specific, it is talking about the hospitality industry. All right, the good human resource management, good human resource practices. So it's talking about the concerns. It's talking about what should not be done. It's talking about what should be done. So all these things. Clear with the idea of every parent, clear with the idea of the entire passage? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah? Okay, cool. I'm just closing this session and starting another one. You guys can just join in with the same. Okay?
Yes, sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.